There is something so special about reading in the summer. Now don't get me wrong, there's also something special about reading in the fall, but that is a completely different type of special, okay? There is something so beautiful and so fun and magical about reading some just fun little romance books in the summer. The vibes are good, it's hot outside, maybe you're at the pool, maybe you're at the beach, whatever the case may be. Some of my like most ingrained memories in my brain of me reading books, particularly some of my favorite books, have been in the summertime, and I'm so excited to share all these book recommendations with you guys. These are some of my all-time favorite books. Some of them maybe aren't my favorites, but are books that I either read over summer or just feel like gave me such summery vibes when I read it, and I absolutely genuinely 100% think you guys need to read them and experience what I experienced when I read them. With that being said, we're gonna get started and we're gonna hop right into it. That was saying the same thing in two different ways. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. Okay, the first two books we are going to be talking about is Mr. Wrong Number and The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. So this first book is not my favorite romance book I've ever read, but I did read this over summer and it was such a fun read. I genuinely enjoyed my time reading this. This is a brother's best friend trope, so we kind of have that where it's in their minds forbidden because, you know, bro code, bro sister code, I don't even know. But I love me a good brother's best friend romance. They hit every single time and it's just a quick, easy, fun read to read over the summertime. I really enjoyed this book and I think a lot of other people would too. And then we have The Love Wager, which is the second in this interconnected standalone series, if you get what I'm saying. This book is a 5-6 star read for me. I absolutely love this. This book follows Jack and Hallie. They basically kind of start as strangers. They have a one-night stand and then they weirdly become friends and create this kind of wager to see who's gonna find the one first. Then fake dating gets entered into the picture at some point in the book, which if you know me, fake dating is my absolute favorite trope. It hits every time for me. I don't know what it is, but literally reading or watching two people who are in a fake relationship start to have feelings for each other and then they don't know if the other person actually has feelings for them because they're in a fake relationship is so fun. I eat it up. I eat it up, okay?
I'ma eat it. Ah!
This book was done so spectacularly. I loved literally the execution from start to finish of this book. I loved the tension and the banter and the friendship between our two main characters, and I highly recommend. It's literally such a good one. You cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong reading this book. Next up is a book that I actually just finished. This is my most recent finished book, and that is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This was actually my book club book of June. So if you haven't joined my book club and you've been wanting to, the link is down below, and this is what we are reading in June. And let me just tell you guys, I loved this book so much. The summer vibes were there. It's a cowboy romance. I didn't know going into this book actually anything about it. I went into it blind, but this is a brother's best friend trope. You know I ate it up. Thoroughly enjoyed my time reading this, and I am so excited to continue the series. This is technically the first in a series. The second one is about her brother Wes and Ada, and I'm so excited to read that book because while reading this book, I just created such a deep connection with Wes, now known in my book club and to me as Wessie Poo. That is now what I will be referring to him as. I just am so obsessed with him as a character and I cannot wait to read his book. That book is out. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to add that to the recommendations I'm giving you because I know I'm going to love it. And if it's anything like this, which obviously it's gonna be written by the same person, duh.
Well, duh.
It's gonna be so good and I'm so excited. Genuinely though, so fun. It was such a fast-paced, really easy read. It was very captivating. The love story was very sweet, and our main male character in this is such a sweetheart. Like genuinely, he's a slay. He's kind of giving golden retriever boyfriend in my personal opinion, and I loved it so much, so highly recommend. Next we have an entire series, and when I read this first book, I didn't expect to continue the series, nor did I think I would ever really recommend it to people, and then I randomly on a whim just had a gut feeling I should read the second one, fell in love, then immediately read the third, and I'm so obsessed with it, and that is the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. You have heard of this series unless you have literally been living under a rock. Then you probably haven't, but if you haven't been living under a rock, you've heard of this. This series blew up last summer and it is so good. It deserves all the hype it gets. This is a cowboy romance series, but this is the first one flawless. I actually did not love this book. I gave this about a 3-star, which isn't a bad rating. I just didn't feel a actual connection between our two main characters. It felt very physical based, very sex based, which isn't my favorite thing. I really want to feel that mental, emotional connection between two characters, and I didn't feel it in this, but it was still a fun read. And then Then I read Heartless, which is the second one, and this was almost a 5-star. Literally one particular scene in this book docked it from a 5 to a 4.75, but I absolutely loved this. It was so good. This one is a single dad trope, which any single parent trope book I have read, I have absolutely loved. And I think it's because I am a parent and I love watching someone who has gone through struggles, whereas they ended up getting a divorce or separating, or their person, it was kind of a one-night stand situation, left the baby with them, whatever, or their partner has died. Watching someone who has gone through this situation and is raising this child on their own, find someone that they're falling in love with and that person loves them the way they deserve to be loved, but also watching that person love their kid as if it's their own is just the sweetest thing to me. And Kate and Willow were like absolutely so perfect, and I just loved it so much. I just went on a whole rant about single parent tropes. Anyways, and then I've also read Powerless. This is the third one. This is a hockey romance, kind of. It is a cowboy romance still, but he is also a hockey player and she's a dancer. I really liked the dynamic in this one. It was really fun to get all three of those kind of little mini tropes in one. It was so fun. Really enjoyed it. I have yet to read Reckless, but I'm sure I'm gonna love it, and it is obviously a part of the series. Like I said, I do not own the last one, which is Hopeless, but cannot wait to eventually finish the series. I would highly recommend. They are so good. I just think they're absolutely perfect for summertime. Okay, and next we have another series, and I for the life of me cannot find the first two books in the series, which has been stressing me out for the last hour. I've gone through all of the boxes that have my books and I can't find them, so I'm assuming there's a few stragglers that ended up in a different box that I haven't opened, because if you don't know, I just recently moved from Alaska to Missouri, and now we're in our apartment. We haven't got bookshelves or furniture or anything yet, so my books are still in boxes and I can't find them. So that's the explanation for why I only have the last two in the series, but that is the Twisted series by Anna Hong. I also believe that these are on Kindle Unlimited, as is the Chestnut Spring series. A lot of these books are on Kindle Unlimited, which is a great option if you don't want to buy the books and you have Kindle Unlimited. I love me Kindle Unlimited. It's so good. This is your sign, actually, if you don't have a Kindle, to get one. It's so worth it. But anyways, this is such a beloved series by me and many others. It is so good. I feel like these would be perfect to read over summer. I personally read them spring to summertime. I have a whole video of me reading the entire series. These are actually the first books I ever felt the urge to annotate, which is why I'm very stressed that I can't find the first two, because they're very heavily annotated books. The second and the third in this series are my favorite, and they are just so good. I still think about these books randomly. I'll just be like, oh, I love all those people. It was so sad to see it go, but I genuinely love them so much, and I think they are such good books. If you are a beginner, if you are someone who maybe has never really read a series before, this is like such a good place to start, in my opinion. Again, interconnected standalone, so they all follow a different couple. All of our main girls are best friends and they go to college together, so that's kind of the connection there. The first one is a brother's best friend trope. The second one is a bodyguard trope. Third one is like a enemies to lovers type deal, and then the last one is a fake dating trope. So highly recommend the Twisted series. It's so good. And next we have another series, and I actually don't have the first one in the series currently because I'm letting my best friend Emily borrow it, but that is the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. I mean, guys, you had to have expected I was gonna talk about this. I actually have yet to finish it and read the last one, but these books and even the show too is so good, and they have the most summery vibes. I actually think there is maybe only one other book that I have read that holds up to the amount of summer vibes you get from these books. So if you are wanting a very fast-paced, fun, sweet love triangle romance that is also the most summer vibes that you can possibly get from a book, you're gonna get it from this series. So good, so fun. I personally like the TV show more, but that also might be the fact that I watched the show before I read the books, because at the time of the first season coming out, I was not yet a reader, so I didn't really know there were books. So yeah, but highly recommend. Okay, we have another series, and for those of you who are standalone girlies, guys, whatever, for those of you who like a standalone, don't worry, I have tons of those coming up soon. But next we have the Knock 'Em Out trilogy by Lucy Score. These are also some very good books. Again, have not read the last one just yet, but I loved these first two so much, and considering how big they are, I honestly flew through them. I was in a slump when I read this one, so I would have went through it a lot faster. This is definitely my favorite of the two I've read so far, but they are so good. We're basically small town romances, and Lucy Score's writing is so perfect and good, and I love the way she formulates a story and writes her characters. It's so good. So if you love a slow burn and you also love a small town romance, this is going to be for you. They are so good. Next we have a standalone, okay, and this is one of my favorite books that I have ever read. I read this last summer and I still think about this book all the time. I actually am really debating if I want to reread it. It's so good. It's another one by Miss Lucy Score herself, and I also read this in a reading vlog, and that is By Thread by, again, Lucy Score. This book is giving enemies to lovers. It's a slow burn, kind of a small town romance, I believe. Is it a small town? No, I don't think this is a small town. Scratch that. Take that out. Erase it. Take it out. Leave it. I don't think it's a small town romance. I think I just said that to say it. Anyways, basically we have Dominic and Allie. Dominic ends up getting Allie fired from her job, and his mom runs a fashion like marketing company, and she ends up hiring her, and now they have to work together. So it's workplace romance, grumpy sunshine, enemies to lovers. It's so good. I loved the chemistry, the dynamic, the banter between our two characters. The ending in this book is one of my favorite endings I've ever read. It was so sweet, and I literally sobbed for like 20 minutes finishing this book. Happy tears, because it was just so good, so sweet, and wow. This book is so good. Literally me just like hugging and holding my book so tightly. I love this book. Like, I love this book so much that when we moved, I put this in my suitcase even though I had already read it, because I could not stand the thought of it getting ruined in the move. So yeah, that's how much I love this. Highly recommend. And next up we have The Stand-In by Lily Chu. I don't really remember what season this takes place, to be honest, but it's so good, and I just could not recommend it to you guys. I actually listened to this on Audible because it is on Audible for free, and it's so good. This is completely like smut free. We know what sex is, we mention sex, but we don't talk about sex, you feel me? We do not go into detail about these two people having sex, okay? It's literally a closed door, but the literal plot line of this is so good, and I loved the way that she formulated this story. I loved how she wrote her characters. Every single thing, like, her writing was so good to me. I'm genuinely so surprised that I haven't heard more people talk about this book, and if you have not heard of this, or maybe you have, I highly recommend reading it. It's so good. Literally, if you're going to read any of these books, like if I'm gonna give you a top 3, this would be in my top 3 of this whole video to read. It's so good. 6-star read. And next we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This book is amazing. It's so good. If you're looking for a fast-paced YA, very sweet, cheesy, hopeless romantic book, this is the one for you. Our main character is literally a hopeless romantic who loves rom-coms, and that plays such a big picture into this. This book has some fake dating in it. It's so cute. Like, genuinely, this book is also a 5-6-star read for me. It's so good, and I would literally recommend this to almost anyone. If you are someone who is not like a YA person and you don't really like how immature I guess it could feel because they're in like high school, then I maybe wouldn't suggest reading this, but otherwise it's so good, and I cannot recommend it more. I also read this in the same reading vlog as By a Thread because Miss Haley Pham chose for me to read this book, and I'm so happy that I did that video and it made me read these books because they're some of my favorite books ever now. Can't recommend enough. And the next book is also in that same reading vlog, and that is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Again, another 5-6-star read for me. Another one of my favorite books of all time. This book, okay, guys, Olive and Adam, our main couple, our couple, okay, in this book, is one of my favorite couples I've ever read about. The literal pure chemistry between these two people was so unbelievably crazy in my brain, because I could, when reading this, not comprehend the fact that like these were not real people like falling in love. Like, it felt so real. It felt like I was watching a movie, or that it was like my best friend and I was like personally there watching it happen. It was so good. And I would also say this is very low spice. There's only one sex scene in this entire book, and it's towards the end. So if you are someone who doesn't love spice, I would definitely say this will be a good one for you, because there's barely any. So you really get the opportunity to fall in love with these characters and also see them falling in love and feel that emotional connection between the two of them. So good. This is also fake dating. Okay, that was really aggressive, but guys, it's fake dating. You know, it's so good, and I cannot recommend it enough. I have another standalone, and this one is also a 5-6-star read for me. And I also read this in a reading vlog, but this was read in the fall time, but I do think that this could be a great book to read in the summer because it's just such a sweet romance, and it's also very fast-paced and captivating in my opinion, and that is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, however you pronounce her last name. This book has some magical realism in it, and basically that is the fact that her apartment is like magical. Like, she meets this guy in her apartment, and he is 7 years in her past, so she's quite literally living 7 years in his future, and that's where the romance lies. I loved the fact that this book had that magical realism aspect to it because it added so much depth to the story, and also added a little bit of a mystery aspect to it because you're like, how could this ever even work? How could this ever turn out? I don't understand where this is gonna go. And it's such an amazing ride to go on with these characters, and it was such a beautiful story. I cannot hype this book up enough. It's so good. It's so good. Highly, highly, highly recommend. And next we have The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. This is another book that has the most spectacular summer vibes ever. I read this last summer and genuinely I felt the summer vibes. This book is also just such a fun, cute story. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed my time reading this, and someone recently in my Discord asked for a good nighttime summer recommendation, and this is one that I gave her because I feel like a lot of our instances of these two people kind of falling in love and starting to like each other happen at nighttime, and so it kind of gives those vibes also if you're looking for something more along the nighttime-y vibes. It's really, really fun, really, really sweet, and I would also say it's very fast-paced and captivating, so highly recommend. And the last book I have to recommend to you guys, I actually don't have a physical copy of, and it's also one I just recently read and absolutely fell in love with. It is my most recent 5-star read, and that is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This book was just so good. The whole thing was, oh my god, like, I just can't. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so good. We have a bodyguard romance, obviously, but she's the bodyguard, not him, and she is basically being a bodyguard to this famous person, and that's where the romance lies. And I love a good bodyguard romance, but also this book has no spice, so again, you really have the chance to feel the actual chemistry and connection between our two characters without it all just being sex. And there's nothing wrong with a book having a lot of smut in it. A lot of these do, and if that's the type of books that you like, go for it. But if you're someone who likes books more on the less or no side, this is gonna be perfect for you. The romance is so sweet. This book literally helped me get out of a 2.5 month long slump, so if that doesn't tell you how good it is, I don't know what will. I literally read it in 2 days. Again, 2.5 month long slump. Worst slump I've ever been in my entire life, and this book I read in 2 days, and it literally helped get me out of my slump. It's so good. Guys, it was so good. Highly, highly recommend. Please read it. If you read any of these books, please come back to this video or on any of my videos, on my Instagram, on my Discord, anywhere. Please let me know if you read any of these, what your thoughts were. I hope you love every single one of them. I hope you read as many of them as you want and love all the ones you read. I hope you just love all the books that you read, and I hope you get so many new 5-star reads this summer. It's not even funny. I hope you get so many new favorite books. And with that being said, that's all the books. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are not already, because we have a lot of fun over here, and you know, we really want you to join the fun. That was really cringy, sorry. Anyways, with that being said, I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Wow, I whip my hair back and forth. Oh. To get into the mood, we're gonna play literally the song of the summer. The song of the summer. She really did something with this one.
All I'm asking, baby. Please, please, please. Tears when I trust in my makeup's on us.
All I'm asking, baby, is please fix the hair, fix the hair, fix the hair. I just said read to read. That was weird. Anyways, so if you haven't joined my book club, wait, let me start over. On them, find these two. What even would be the trope in this, actually? I don't even remember. I don't know. Grumpy Shunsat. Whoa. Inner dot. What? Oh my god. I loved the fact that this. What did I just say? On my book. Love you. Bye.